COVID-19 pandemic has brought unprecedented changes to our usual ways of living. But the Department of Education remains unfazed by these challenges to fulfill the mission of Sulong Edukalidad, the rallying call for national effort to deliver quality basic education to all Filipinos, which involve aggressive reforms in the 4 key areas: the K-12 curriculum review and update, improving the learning environment, teachers upskilling and reskilling, and engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration to move forward together as we prepare the education system for the future. The call for Sulong Edukalidad will continue, and we have built the framework of the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, or the BELCP, to put the needs of the learners at top priority. DepEd's BELCP is the major response and commitment to protect the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. The plan aims to provide opportunities to continue education even in these trying times with a BELCP in place, supported by an unprecedented number of diverse stakeholders from the academe, media, industry groups, NGOs, business and private individuals. Sulong Edukalidad will be able to sustain the aims in its reform for quality basic education. In our journey towards quality education, we have established the 4 pillars of aggressive reforms from the start, and we have been continuing to progress in these pillars. In improving the learning environment, we took action in the construction and rehabilitation of school buildings, ensured the availability of learning materials and equipment, and prioritized our last mile schools. The challenges of the pandemic also brought to light the urgent need to upgrade our ICT infrastructure to service the needs of education. In terms of the teachers upskilling and reskilling, we were able to establish more innovative professional standards for teachers and school heads. We have aligned the professional development of teachers with their career progression to track their development as part of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines transformation. With the launch of the Education Futures program, where we will be focusing on innovative actions and solutions to improve the state of our education, we are now more than ready to start a new journey and continue our fight for quality education for all Filipino learners. Finally, we've given high importance to the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration. In support of this, we have convened the Philippine Forum for Accessible Quality Basic Education, or the Education Forum, which will leverage other partnerships for education quality and strengthen partnership with the Philippine Normal University as the country's national center for teacher education. The department has also been developing a professional development program for teachers and school leaders in order to equip them with the skills, materials, and data that will allow them to help their students prepare for PISA 2022. This intervention consists of the following components: online training for teachers and school leaders, development of learning materials and practice tests for students, deepening the analysis of the PISA 2018 results, and supporting school-level action research. Now that the year is about to end, our commitment to Sulong Edukalidad will continue and will be far from being gone. With a lot at stake, considering our new knowledge and experience from this year's challenges, we are equipped to face a new future. As we head on to the future where we will face many challenges and uncertainties, the department will always be the guardian of every Filipino learner's right to education.
Sino ba ang hindi naapektuhan? Sino ba ang hindi nag-alala? Sino ba ang hindi nalito? Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo ay nag-aalala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19 ang paraan ng pamumuhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino saan mang sektor ka nabibilang. Tumigil ang panandalian ang ating mga nakagawian. Tumigil ang lahat ng uri ng transaksyon. Tumigil ang lahat ng operasyon ng mga paaralan. Nakalilito. Nakakaba. Paano na ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan? Paano na tayo sa hinaharap? Opisyal na nilulunsad ng Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa pangunguna ng Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction ang DepEd Teaches. Ito ay isang online na programa na gagabay sa mga guro, tagapangasiwa, magulang at mag-aaral hinggil sa mga pagbabago sa batayang edukasyon ngayong new normal. Ang DepEd Teaches ay angkla sa sulong edukalidad na nakatuon sa apat na pangunahing pangangailangan ng mapunyaging reforma tungo sa makalidad na pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Una, pagre-review at pagsasapanahon ng kurikulum ng K-12. Ikalawa, pagpapaunlad ng kapaligirang pampagkatuto. Ikatlo, paglinang ng mga bagong kasanayan sa mga guro. At ang ikaapat, ang pakikipag-ugnay sa mga stakeholder para sa suporta at kolaborasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng virtual learning platform, ang DepEd Teaches ang magsisilbing bukas na komunidad ng pagsasanay na titipon sa mga guro, tagapamunong pang-edukasyon at sa sinumang may pagnanais sa pagtataguyod ng kalidad na edukasyon sa bansa at sa pagtagumpay ng bawat Filipinong mag-aaral. Ang mga opisyal, education specialist, learning content expert at outstanding teacher ng DepEd ang magiging tagapanayam na magbabahagi ng kanilang kaalaman at kasanayan sa kurikulum, pagtuturo at pagkatuto, pagtataya at lahat ng kaugnay na mahalaga sa proseso ng pagtuturo at pagkatuto sa new normal. Bilang mga frontliner ng classroom, inaasahang magiging aktibo ang mga guro sa programang ito. Ang mga tema at paksa ay angkop sa kanilang pangangailangan at konteksto sa pamamagitan ng accessible na platform, ang social media. Sumali na sa OUCI family sa DepEd Teaches, kung sama-sama mapahuhusay pa ang mga guro, kung sama-sama higit na malilinang natin ang mga mag-aaral.
Are you a passionate lifelong learner who finds joy in situations that will challenge you to be your best?
Are you willing to invest your time, effort, and resources to collaborate and communicate more effectively with your colleagues?
Do you empower yourself so you can also empower your learners?
Do you seek change and believe that small changes can make a difference?
If all your answers are big yes, then you are in the right channel. Welcome to DepEd Teaches. Here we believe that teachers who dare to teach must never cease to learn. So we are very delighted that we have been reaching out to thousands of Filipino educators for the past months as we provide quality professional development learning experience. Live here on our official Facebook page, the DepEd Teaches, alongside with other social media platforms such as the DepEd Philippines Facebook page, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd YouTube channel. We hope for the past weeks since we've started the hindsight, insight, and foresight discussions, you have discovered new learning and you look forward to starting a better, brighter, and another exciting school year. Also, we would like to greet our teachers and educators out there a happy Teachers Month, which started last September 5 until the Teachers Day celebration on October 5. Hello, Miss Anna. Happy Teachers Month to you. And what are your thoughts about our episode today?
Happy Thursday, everyone, and happy Teachers Month. Time flies, Sir July. And I would say yes to all those questions, Sir July. You know, we live in a VUCA world, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, where everything changes, just like what happened to us, sudden shift to distance learning modality. But good thing our department, our educators, and the rest of the public servant are very agile and have shown incredible grit and growth mindset. And this is a part of our advocacy here on DepEd Teaches. We want our educators to be lifelong learners. We want our teachers to be engaged in an ongoing, voluntary, and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge for either personal or professional reasons. And where else they can get this kind of experience? Of course, here on DepEd Teaches. But of course, Sir July, there are other programs and policies that promote teacher professional development in our department. And this will be the focus of our discussion today. So, Sir July, how do you feel whenever you are invited to participate in any kind of professional development?
Well, Miss Anna, I couldn't agree more with you when you talked about changes. And as part of that, we must be able to adapt to these changes to stay relevant. And so for me, I am very positive in any opportunity given when I have the chance to participate in any professional development. First, not everyone gets the chance. So take it, grab it, and especially when it's free, because definitely there's more to gain than to lose. Then second, knowledge is evolving. What I used to know might no longer be applicable. So attending training and listening to webinars will provide deeper insights and clarify any misconceptions. And more importantly, it's human nature that we seek progress, advancement, and improvement in the quality of life that includes our career. So I highly value the benefits of any type of professional development.
Excellent, Sir July. And so in today's episode, we will talk about professional development and teacher agency in the time of pandemic. One good thing in this pandemic is that free webinars like DepEd Teaches are booming in popularity. You know, you just have to visit our DepEd Facebook page, DepEd Teaches Facebook page. You find hundreds of powerful, engaging discussions in various topics since last year. But do you know, dear viewers, there's another office in the Department of Education whose mandate is to upgrade, to scale up the education quality in the country through leading and coordinating the planning for research-based professional development interventions for teachers and school leaders.
And we are fortunate enough that we get to listen to another amazing speaker today who leads that office that is primarily in charge of managing the continuous professional development of our teachers, and that's so responsive to the needs of our teachers and school leaders. And that is none other than the National Educators Academy of the Philippines. But before we give the floor to our speaker, let's play a game first to lighten things up. While waiting for others to join us, we will show you 4 lines or lines from 4 popular fictional teachers in movies. Our viewers, you will just guess the movie character who said that line. Again, these are fictional characters, and our clue is that they are amazing teachers in those movies. So as usual, we will give 30 seconds for you to type in your answer in the comment section of our Facebook page. All right, I hope everyone is ready. And again, more than having fun, these movie lines from teachers will remind us of some great lessons in life. So, Miss Anna, take it away.
All right, so let's begin. Try to guess the fictional character, the teacher who said this line. Please show the first line. Let me read. Carpe diem, seize the day, boys. Make your lives extraordinary. So the clue, this is a classical movie played by a popular actor whose role is an English teacher, inspiring his students in an all-boys school. Who do you think is the teacher in this movie? Or what's the name of the teacher from what movie? Kindly type in your answer in the comment section now. Okay, so let's find out the answer. Any guess, dear viewers? So the answer is John Keating from the Dead Poets Society. Have you seen this movie, dear viewers? You know, I personally love this movie, Dead Poets Society. I watched it first way back in college in my literature class. And the scene where he and his students stood up on chair, it was a magical moment for me. And I remember doing the similar activity in my class. I asked my students in my language class to do the same thing when I challenged them to practice nonverbal language. So I called that activity the magical space, where instead of standing on the floor, they would stand up on chair to express different emotions. I really got inspired with the character of John Keating, who is a charismatic, energetic English teacher, because he emphasized about freedom, creativity, and originality. A very non-traditional teacher, but he truly has inspired and touched the lives of his students.
I guess students would describe John Keating as a cool teacher. I would say that this movie is indeed a must-watch film to all our teachers. I also have a CD of this movie with me. And now, for our second item, let us show now our next movie line. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. Again, it takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. A clue here for our viewers is that this teacher is once a headmaster of a school in a fantasy series novel turned movie series. Okay, guess and key in now the movie character who said that line. 30 seconds, start now. All right, let's try to reveal the answer now. It takes a great deal of bravery to stand up to our enemies, but just as much to stand up to our friends. This was said by Albus Dumbledore, or simply Dumbledore, from the Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. All right, I am sure Dumbledore is a popular character to all our viewers. He is from the blockbuster Harry Potter movies. He is the protector and mentor of Harry Potter. He has positive influence on Harry, his friends, and even to the readers who follow his characters. I picture him as someone who embodies that kind of teacher who is wise, gentle, kind, and mysterious in a way yet very understanding. And more than the magical adventures in the story, we encounter unique and very interesting character just like the headmaster of Hogwarts, Professor Dumbledore. For Harry Potter fanatics, I wonder who is your favorite professor in Hogwarts is.
That's a great given, Sir July. Kind of nostalgic, the Potter mania. I also love Professor Dumbledore, and there are other teachers in Harry Potter. Okay, so I guess everyone can relate to this movie. Now, let's proceed for the third question for the next movie line. Let me read that to you. Just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever. Just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they are lost forever. Who is the fictional teacher character in the movie who said this line? The clue is from a Marvel series where there are gifted students and their teacher once said this line. I'll give you 30 seconds for you to guess the correct answer. Okay, so any guess? Okay, so let's reveal the answer now. It's none other than Professor X from X-Men. Okay, he said, just because someone stumbles and loses their way doesn't mean they're lost forever. We know him as Charles Francis Xavier, also known by his codename Professor X from the X-Men series. So this line, he was echoing the words of his older self, because Charles refused to believe that Raven or Mystique is lost forever. We all know Mystique or Raven is his old best friend, and such powerful line reminding us not to lose hope and faith to someone dear to us. And this is the kind of attitude that we also want our teachers to have. We might have some students who are initially at loss, but we mustn't give up on them. We will try our best to help them find their way back to the road of success. I wonder if our viewers are Marvel fanatics.
That's very true, Ma'am Ana, on Professor X character. We have also seen his visionary and optimistic trait of seeing the world where mutants and humans coexist peacefully, which he modeled and showed to his students at the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. All right, and now for our fourth and final item. Let us show them now our movie line. You trust the quality of what you know, not quantity. Again, you trust the quality of what you know, not quantity. As a clue here, this teacher is a martial arts master in a martial arts drama film. All right, key in now your answer of this movie character who said that line. 30 seconds, start now. All right, let's try to reveal now the answer for this movie line. You trust the quality of what you know, not quantity. These are words from Mr. Miyagi from the movie Karate Kid. Mr. Miyagi is a fictional character master or karate master from Okinawa, Japan. In the Karate Kid film series, Mr. Miyagi mentors Daniel Laruso and Julie Pierce in the films. What I like about Mr. Miyagi was that he is not just a sensei to once bullied Daniel Laruso, for he taught him also both life lessons and martial arts to protect himself. He helped to shape Daniel into an honorable man, and his teachings were wise and impactful to him. This is another classical must-watch movie to everyone. All right, we hope you have enjoyed this short guessing game and noticed the focus of the great personalities here, our teachers or the teachers' quality. And on top of this, teachers indeed can truly inspire and touch children's lives. Salute to all our amazing teachers. And so at this point, we will not keep you waiting. Let's meet our resource speaker.
We are honored today to introduce to you our resource speaker, Director John Arnold S, who works at the Department of Education as Director 4 of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines, the learning and development arm of the department. Prior to his stint at NEAP Central Office, Director Siena has served in the DepEd Field Office as Assistant Schools Division Superintendent of Sagay City and Bacolod City, Schools Division Superintendent of Sagay City, Escalante City, and Antique Province. He is also once the Assistant Regional Director and OIC Regional Director of Region 6 Western Visayas. He had been a classroom teacher for 14 years at Philippine Science High School, Western Visayas, Doña Lawaan H. Lopez Campus, Iloilo City, where he also served as Chief of the Curriculum Instruction and Student Services Division and Head of the Humanities Unit.
He holds a Bachelor in Secondary Education degree, major in English, from the West Visayas State University, Master in Education, major in English as second language from the University of the Philippines in the Visayas, Master in Communications from Victoria University in Wellington, New Zealand, and Master of Development Management from the Asian Institute of Management here in the Philippines. He was awarded Outstanding School Paper Advisor during the 1998 National Schools Press Conference in Tacloban City and Most Outstanding Faculty Member of the Philippine Science High School Western Visayas Campus also in 1998. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Director 4 of the National Educators Academy of the Philippines, none other than Director John Arnold S. Siena.
Good day, everyone. I wish to welcome all our participants to this edition of DepEd Teaches. Today, I'm going to tackle the topic professional development and teacher agency in the time of pandemic. So we begin our topic with this very interesting cartoon on a teacher who maybe hasn't realized that he or that she is not the right person to teach the English subject. So it is true that good teachers are expensive because teachers who are really great are actually the ones that we reward with promotion or with other recognition or forms of recognition. However, bad teachers can also be even more expensive because yes, we are paying them their salary, but at the same time, the repercussions in terms of the learners will be far-reaching than we even realize, or some of us can realize. So therefore, it's important that the quality of teachers actually is ensured, okay, for the sake of our learners. So for this particular presentation, I am hoping that the participants will be able to outline some steps that they can take to advance teacher agency, their own agency as teachers. And for you to do this, you should be able to define what teacher agency is, and also define what professional development is. And then let us clarify the role of professional development in advancing teacher agency. And then finally, we should be able to state the value of teacher agency in the professional life of the teacher. So very, very straightforward objectives for us today. So for us to be able to do that, the presentation will cover sulong edukalidad as a context for this particular topic. And we will also discuss upskilling and reskilling for the new normal. And then I will discuss and maybe even define a teacher agency. Well, I will attempt to define teacher agency and some of its aspects. And then we'll cover teacher professional development and this will entail also looking at the different activities and different models for professional development. And then finally, we should be able to connect professional development to teacher agency to answer the question, how does professional development promote or advance teacher agency? So this is a very short presentation. So when the Secretary of Education, Secretary Ling, joined the Department of Education in 2016, she laid down her 10-point agenda. And one of the very strong messages of the Secretary was to address the challenge of improving the quality of basic education in the country. So she has been very consistent about this. And in 2019, in December of 2019, the Sulong Edukalidad program was officially and formally launched. And this carries with it the different aggressive reforms for quality. And these aggressive reforms are composed of 4 pillars. So you have KITE as the acronym for these reforms. So KITE or KITE would refer to K-12 curriculum review and update, improving learning environment, teachers upskilling and reskilling, and the engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration. So the teacher upskilling and reskilling has become the inspiration also for the National Educators Academy of the Philippines transformation. So in 2020, the Department of Education adopted the DepEd Order number 11 series of 2019. So it's 2019 for the NEAP transformation implementation to focus on the teachers upskilling and reskilling as one of the 4 pillars of Sulong Edukalidad. So what is upskilling and reskilling? According to Shapin, Brinegar, and Hollis Masino, in their article Adapting to the New Normal, Upskilling and Reskilling, upskilling is learning new skills or enhancing the current ones to adapt to changes within the current role. So for instance, our teachers need to adjust the delivery of education to adapt the distance learning. So they need to upskill in terms of using the technology in the new modalities. So for instance, they need to understand how modular distance learning is actually implemented. So that is upskilling. On the other hand, reskilling involves equipping employees with new knowledge and skills so they can work in another part of the business or they can take on another role. And an example of this is if you are a teacher and you are being groomed to become the new principal, for instance, or the school head, then you need to reskill in terms of the leadership aspect, because leadership will require a different set of skills. So that's the difference for upskilling and reskilling. And so now, therefore, we are looking at how we can continually support our teachers' upskilling and reskilling. So why do we need to upskill and reskill? Well, one of the compelling reasons, of course, is because in the 21st century, a lot of changes have been happening, and many of these changes are very drastic. And these changes have been seen in the way business is done, the way education is delivered, the way even politics, and so many aspects. The different facets of our lives have been changed, and many of the impacts will have implications on how to prepare our learners for the 21st century workplace, for Industry 4.0, which is dominated by the use of, not just the use of technology, but how do you leverage technology to produce new things, right? So now, therefore, in preparing our learners for that kind of workplace, we need to also provide them with education that really prepares them for that workplace in the future. And in fact, it is said that we are actually educating our learners for skills, for jobs that are not yet known presently. So we need to anticipate what those jobs are, and those skills will require, at the very least, the skills that have been identified by World Economic Forum in their Future of Jobs report in 2020. This is so far the latest, I think. And the World Economic Forum says there are top 10 skills for 2025 that involve problem solving, self-management, working with people, technology use, and development. So the teachers need to upskill themselves in these areas, not just teaching the content in the curriculum, but really how to integrate these skills in the curriculum, in the content that we are teaching. And I think we already have enough of practice, because the 21st century skills as identified in our curriculum have been integrated in the different curriculum standards, in the learning standards. So this is one of the compelling reasons, right? I mean, we have already been prepared for this in terms of how to develop further and hone the skills of our learners for the 21st century through the curriculum. But with the pandemic, this has been intensified, and the need has become even more urgent for us to upskill. So the pandemic also, at the same time, has posed a lot of challenges in terms of the delivery. And as I mentioned, now we need to develop more skills in terms of the use of technology and so on, so that we will be able to deliver basic education to our learners. So what does it mean for teachers then, because of these changes and all? So, and then the pandemic as well. So teachers have to learn. We have to learn. We have to learn how to teach better in the pandemic. We have to learn how to use the technology in teaching and to leverage the power of technology in the effective delivery of basic education. We have to learn how to connect and to take care of the learners in distance. In this situation where you don't know what actually is happening to the learners wherever they are, you don't know whether they're engaged, you don't know whether they are learning. So there must be a way to be able to connect to them, so that we can also maximize the time that they are spending in engaging in our sessions or in the modules that we are giving them. So how do you do that? So we need to learn that. How to take care of ourselves as well. I mean, this is very extraordinary time, right? So we need to make sure that we also have some boundaries in terms of work and home concerns. So we take care of ourselves, our mental health, our psychological balance, as well as our physical health. So how do you do all of these things? These are all part of the new normal, and we need to be able to adjust and to adapt to the new situation. And this is the challenge for us teachers. So basically, in this time of pandemic, so many things are really fluid and uncertain. We don't know. We don't know when this pandemic will end. We don't know when the distance learning will end, or will this ever end. In fact, they have been saying, no, from the World Health Organization, that we need to already learn how to live with this virus. It's the going back to normal. In other words, we cannot anymore go back to the way things before the pre-pandemic. So we need to already make that adjustment. So in this sense, we need more teachers, especially teachers, people who are at the front line of providing education to our young learners. Teachers who can make quick decisions, okay? Because everything is fluid and uncertain, and at certain times you are facing a situation that will require you to make quick decisions for the learners, because if you delay the decision further, it might turn out for the worse for everybody. We need more teachers who can tell the difference between what is important to the learners and what can be unnecessary distractions. And maybe this is even referring to what will be important to the learners in terms of content, in terms of curriculum standards. And that is why we have the most essential learning competencies, because we want to distill what is really important for the learners, and this is what we focus on. But of course, sometimes that is not enough. Even at the classroom level, at the session level with your learners, you need to make decisions whether certain lessons are more important, or between health and lessons, what will you prioritize? So the teacher should be able to make that difference and can resolve certain issues. Okay? When facing issues, the teacher should be able to approach the resolution without unnecessarily escalating or even complicating the situation, so avoiding escalation. We need more teachers who are experts in their profession, who are expert teachers, who know what they are doing, who know what pedagogies will be appropriate, what materials will be appropriate, who know what is the best and maybe or better way of doing things with the learners in this crisis situation, and can decide what is appropriate to the learners in their context. So always taking a look at where the learners are in their context. So we also need more teachers who are quick learners and lifelong learners. So adaptive, agile. So we need more teachers who, seeing a situation, can actually make that adjustment. And of course, can practice empathy, because this is not just about delivering content to the learners, but also understanding where the learners are. Okay? And being able to go out of their comfort zone and being able to provide that support to the learners, whatever their situation is, within their capacity, within the protocols of the situation. So in this sense, because this is the demand that is being asked of us, we need teacher agency. We need more teachers who actually are empowered, who are not just autonomous, but also have the agency to make decisions and to do what they need to do given the situation. And so teacher agency actually is according to Goyan, quoting another expert, quoting another author, says that teacher agency refers to the capacity of teachers to act purposefully. So there's a purpose to that action. There is a desired end to that particular decision to act in a particular way. And constructively, in other words, whatever act that is done by the teacher is aimed at promoting what is good, promoting what is positive for the learners and for the school and for the community, to direct their professional growth and contribute to the growth of education quality. So they take into their own hands their professional growth and take it as a personal responsibility to contribute to the growth or to the improvement of education quality. It also refers to teachers demonstrating capacity to act to solve pedagogical problems and or challenges, according to Sean in 2018. teacher agency is rooted in teacher efficacy, meaning that it really begins with this belief that the teacher can make a difference in the child, and that even collectively, teachers as a collective, teachers as a community of educators, if they believe that they can make a difference in the child, then that is also teacher agency in the collective. So teacher agency is actually a force inside the teacher, that there is something that he or she can do in order to improve the condition of the children through the work that he is doing or she is doing, and that is teaching the learners. So teacher agency is actually influenced by experience of the teacher. So from the past experience, the engagement now, meaning what is the relationship of the teacher with others, what is the culture within which the teacher is actually operating, and then also the future orientation. What kind of future that this teacher is actually envisioning, not just for himself, but is more importantly for the learners. And that becomes, and all of these three become the influencers of teacher agency and how the teacher actually practices or exercises teacher agency. So there is another model of teacher agency, which is called the triadic reciprocal framework core agency concept, which looks at teacher agency as determined by contextual forces. These are personal determinants, behavioral determinants, environmental determinants. And this context actually also influence how the teacher behaves in the cycle of teacher agency. So what the teacher moving from self-reflectiveness, examining himself, examining his practice, and then moving on to intentionality, looking at how things can change. So there is organizing that's going on. Then there is a specific action plan and strategies that will be laid out in order for that particular change to happen. And this is in relation to a future that is being envisioned and that is being visualized. So the teacher becomes proactive, and then the teacher moves to reactiveness, and that is looking at what the choices are, and then making action plans as well for implementing those choices, self-regulating, and so on. So the teacher undergoes these processes within as determined and influenced by the context within which the teacher operates, and that's how teacher agency actually happens, right? So teacher agency actually is very, very much a internal process. The teacher reflects, because without reflection, there can be no point of moving towards a particular change unless the intention to change and to improve the situation is there. So in this context then, and this is something that I really thought about, whether we are an excellent teacher or a bad teacher is a personal choice. Of course, no one wants to admit or to even entertain the idea that he or she is a bad teacher. But, maybe I'm just exaggerating, but even a mediocre teacher is also a bad choice, right? I mean, just going with the flow and not doing extra effort to be able to help or to improve one's practice as a teacher. That is also a personal choice. And as I said, whether we are an excellent teacher or a bad teacher, that is a personal choice. And maybe this is a very important reminder, whatever choice that we make every day as a teacher, it will have serious and far-reaching consequences. Not just for ourselves, but more importantly for the learners and the society at large. As they are saying, the influence of the teacher extends up to eternity. We don't know where it stops actually. So let's all think that when we teach, we're actually influencing the life of this child. And whether we are an excellent teacher or a bad teacher, that influence will also go with the child. Okay. So we are all, to a certain extent, we are all a product of the kind of teachers that we have. Okay. Maybe some of them left us with very valuable lessons. whether they are good or bad. But let us always think that whatever we do as teachers, we are doing this for the learners. And we cannot afford to be mediocre in the presence of our learners when we teach them. So this is where professional development becomes very important. Teacher agency actually is not something that you already have. This is something that you also develop over time. This is something that that is accumulated through experience and through reflection and through learning with each other. And that is all part of professional development. So in other words, what I'm saying is professional development then becomes a very critical component or a very critical enabler of teacher agency. So what is professional development? OECD, we are familiar with the OECD because it is the organization that is administering the Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA, where the Philippines, of course, was a participant in 2018. So according to OECD, in its report, professional development is any activities that develop an individual's knowledge, skills, expertise, and other characteristics as a teacher. So these activities may include workshops, courses, education conferences, or seminars, qualification programs, so the degree programs that we actually enroll in, observation visits, participation in the network of teachers like the Learning Action Cell, individual or collaborative research, mentoring or peer observation, coaching, team planning, team teaching, reading, professional literature. This is not an exhaustive list, I'm sure. There must be other activities that you can engage in, whether formal or informal, to improve your professional practice. It is also defined, professional development is also defined by CPD Act of 2016, and that otherwise known as RA 10912. And that law defines professional development as inculcation of advanced knowledge, skills, and ethical values for assimilation into professional practice, self-directed research, and lifelong learning. And it also lists the different activities that can be engaged in by the professional. So why do we need professional development? Well, the answer actually is very obvious. You don't have to say this, but I think it is also important to emphasize here that the needs of the learners also change, especially in the 21st century. As I mentioned, the workplace is rapidly changing. The workplace in the future will need skills that may not be, necessarily present now or known now. But in other words, what we are preparing our learners for will be for the workplace that we will have in the future. And we don't know what that future is. We don't know what those jobs are. But we know that there are certain competencies that can actually be developed now to prepare them for these workplaces, for those opportunities in the future. So Linda Darling-Hammond and her colleagues at the Learning Policy Institute are saying that the requirements of our learners now will require sophisticated forms of teaching. And for that, therefore, we need to have continuing professional development for teachers to be able to be in step with the requirement of the 21st century learners, so that we prepare them better for that workplace in the future. So when you talk of professional learning and development, we're not just talking of a single activity here. We're talking of a continuum of activities, activities that teachers undergo in their professional career, in their professional life. So they begin with pre-service or initial teacher education, which is practically the degree that they get from the university or from the teacher education institution. And after passing their licensure examination, and after getting their license, then they are now ready to be absorbed in the teaching profession. And to facilitate that, we have what we call the induction program for them. Now, it is very important also to remember that according to research, the first 3 to 5 years of the teacher in the teaching profession can be very critical. This is the time when they develop their teacher identity. So when you talk of teacher identity, this is how they look at themselves as teachers. So this teacher identity is influenced by their experience in the first 3 to 5 years. So it's important that the induction program should be able to facilitate that transition to the teaching profession in the Department of Education and help them develop a positive teacher identity as in the Department of Education. That research that I'm saying also said that whatever intervention we provide after 3 to 5 years may have minimal effect on the professional development of teachers. So this is very critical, and that's why we have to take induction very, very seriously. So when you are asked to undertake induction, take it seriously, because this is the time when you are actually trying to, when this is the time of parang formation for you for professional development, for teacher identity. You develop your teacher identity. And then, of course, we know that within the in-service, you also have opportunities for continuing professional learning, so that all in all, what we want to accomplish is, in your engagement in your different professional learning and development programs and activities, you actually progress to a certain point where you can say you are already an expert teacher or you are a leader teacher. So so this is very important. So in NEAP, for instance, we have 2 types of programs. We have what we call the programs for consolidation of practice, which will be those initiatives that aim to improve the competency gaps within the career stage. So for instance, if you are a beginning teacher and you have identified gaps between the standards within the career stage and your practice right now in your professional practice, then you should be able to access a program that will consolidate and further hone your practice within that particular career stage. Now, if you are able to already reach and satisfy all the requirements for that career stage, meaning to say that your practice already meets all the standards within that career stage, then you might want to look into programs that will help you to prepare for a higher career stage, to move you from the current career stage to the next career stage. We call these programs for career progression. So that's very important, because we want you to be very conscious of the kind of programs that will really address what you need wherever you are. So again, it bears repeating that professional development plays a critical role in teacher agency. It is very difficult to think about teacher making very difficult decisions or quick decisions, or being able to exercise that kind of the empowerment that we want for the teacher in making certain decisions that will have very important implications on the learners. So what we want is, teachers should always engage, continue to engage in professional development in the different activities. Because the road to excellent teaching is paved by continual learning. Okay? They say great teachers never stop learning. And as a teacher, it is our responsibility actually to continue learning, because I believe personally that once you have decided to become a teacher, you have already decided to become an eternal learner, because especially now, maybe in terms of things about new things, our learners may be quite, maybe ahead of us. So it's not just teachers being one chapter ahead. Maybe our learners are also ahead of us in so many ways. So we need to keep up and maybe eventually be ahead and stay ahead of the learners. So I guess that is all for this particular topic. I hope that you are able to get some ideas here to guide you in making decisions, to guide you in making sure that that you exercise the teacher agency, but also being able to realize that what you need is continuing professional learning, so that you will be able to maximize teacher agency. okay, for our learners, okay, and so that our influence will be positive and that will reverberate for eternity, hopefully. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Director John Arnold Siena, for sharing the actions that NEAP has carefully prepared and designed, both for our teachers and school leaders, the research-based interventions that we can provide in upskilling and reskilling both our teachers and school leaders in this time of pandemic. And I am sure our teachers have felt the positive impact of your programs and projects have provided in closing the gaps in our professional career stages. Once again, thank you so much, Director John, for sharing your insights today. All right, just keep on sharing your insights here on DepEd Teaches for our viewers. Also, you can also share your insights in your own social media accounts like your personal Facebook page and Twitter. Don't forget to use the hashtag I support DepEd Teaches and hashtag DepEd Teaches episode 36.
To all our loyal viewers who consistently watch and support every episode in DepEd Teaches, don't forget to register. You see the link on the screen, and our evaluation will be given on the last week of September. So we hope you had another wonderful learning journey with us.
On behalf of the curriculum and instruction strand, let's commit ourselves to lifelong learning for everyone who keeps learning stays younger and have a brighter future ahead. Hence, our mission here on DepEd Teaches is empowering teachers, enabling learners. A blessed afternoon, everyone.